probably one of the biggest contenders this year, has kind of really gotten snubbed in this tournament. The USA was able to hold off Mexico. I'm Sully with the Sidekick, and this is Sports of Sully. On today's show, we're going to be talking about who I think the contenders are to win the World Baseball Classic this year are. So the World Baseball Classic starts with 20 teams. There is 4 groups of 5 teams, and it's a round-robin tournament, so every team in each group plays each other one time, and then the top 2 teams from each group move on to the semifinals. The round-robin stages are pretty much over, so we kind of know what teams are moving on, so we're going to be talking about them and who I think is going to win it all. Starting with Group A is going to be Puerto Rico and Cuba moving on. Puerto Rico has kind of really gotten snubbed in this tournament just because they had so many players projected to be playing in this tournament. They had like Carlos Correa, they had a bunch of other guys projected to play, Francisco Lindor, but they have not been able to play. There's this big rule in the MLB that you have to have insurance, and if you have really any injury history in the past, you aren't able to play. So they have a bunch of players not able to play. They still have a few players. Edwin Diaz, their closer, is really good, but Puerto Rico, not a super big contender just because they couldn't bring some of their top players. Moving on to Group B, this is the group that the USA is in. It's USA, Mexico, and Italy are going to be fighting for that second spot in the tournament. USA is kind of dominated. They had 2 really easy games against Great Britain and against Brazil where they crushed them. They had a very close game against Mexico. That was really their first challenge. USA and Mexico pretty close. USA got off to a 5-0 start. Mexico kind of chipped back, but the USA was able to hold off Mexico, pulling off a 5-3 win, guaranteeing them a spot in the next round. And Mexico and Italy are going to be playing, and they're going to have to fight it out for the second spot. Mexico has a really good offense. Their pitching is a little bit iffy. Italy, really interesting team because no one really thought Italy would be really contending, but Italy brought a few MLB players like Jack Caglione has kind of been a prospect that's pretty high. And Italy has really held their own in this tournament, and they're going to have to fight it off with Mexico. So Group C has Japan and South Korea moving on. Japan is really an interesting team because they have the best player ever to play MLB baseball. They have a few other guys from the Japanese Baseball League, and their pitching is a little bit interesting because they have Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's one of the best starters in the MLB, but outside of that, they don't have a whole lot of MLB talent at pitching. They had some really good talent last World Baseball Classic, but Roki Sasaki, one of the best pitchers, is not pitching for them this year, so their pitching is a little bit iffy. Then South Korea, they have a few MLB players. Jung-Ho Lee, probably their best player. Their pitching, again, just like Japan, is a little bit iffy, but still South Korea will be moving on. And in Group D, Dominican Republic is probably one of the biggest contenders this year. Their whole lineup is just stacked. They have Juan Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Fernando Tatis. They have a bunch of all-star and MVP talent. Their pitching is a little bit on the weaker side. Christopher Sanchez as their ace is really a very good pitcher. If he gets a start in, let's say, a finals game, then I like Dominican Republic's chances, but their depth in their pitching staff is not too good. So now from those teams that I mentioned, moving on, I really think it's a 3-man race to win the final. I think it's between USA, Japan, and Dominican Republic. Those are the teams that have the most MLB talent and the best talent, so now let's go over these rosters. Starting with the USA roster is really just stacked. Bobby Witt is leading off playing shortstop. Great defender. He made some crazy plays in that Mexico game. And right behind him is Aaron Judge, probably a top 2 player in the MLB. He's been great this World Baseball Classic. He already has 2 home runs. First at bat against Brazil, he hit a home run, and then also he got the USA on the board against Mexico with 2-run home run. This team really doesn't have a weakness. Roman Anthony was kind of this young player added in, and he's really had a great World Baseball Classic so far. He hit a 3-run home run against Mexico, takes them the lead to 5-0, and USA from top to bottom is really just kind of a dominant lineup. And I think where the USA separates from Japan and Dominican Republic is their pitching. Paul Skeens is the best pitcher in the MLB right now. I know Tarek Skubal is not going to be pitching anymore. He had 1 start against Great Britain. Looked really good in that game, but he's going to be he's going to be not pitching the rest of the tournament. He's getting ready for the season, and it's really hard because this pitching staff is full of opening day starters, so it's really hard to get all these starters on a schedule where they can all pitch, but also get ready for the MLB season. And talking about the Dominican Republic, their lineup, just like the USA's, is really stacked. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Fernando Tatis have just been stars in the MLB for a while now. Now let's talk about who I think will win the whole thing. I think out of those three teams I mentioned, I think third place, I would have to go with Japan. I think Japan, if they could have brought their whole pitching staff, that's really what kind of carried them last World Baseball Classic where they took down the U.S. in the finals, but I think I'd have Japan coming in third. And then Dominican Republic, I think their offense can carry them. And then their one good starting pitcher in the finals, I think they would have a really good chance. Their lineup really, if you compare it to the USA's, I think I would probably take Dominican Republic's lineup. They have more stars just top to bottom, and they just have great depth. And then I think I would have the USA winning the whole thing. I just think their pitching depth is too much, and the great lineup, and then power from Aaron Judge, and also on-base guys like Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr. So that's going to do it for today's show, talking about the World Baseball Classic. This is Sully, signing off.